So once I've done my figure of 8, you can move around the bed, just make sure that you keep in contact with your client. What you don't want to do is take your hands off, because then the client feels that disconnection. They're thinking, oh, like where have they gone? Where are they? So once I've done, say, my figure of 8, I'm then going to effleurage around this scapula. So I'm on the left side, and I'm going to do my freestyle scapular work. So I'll start off with just doing some effleurages around the scapula. What I might also do is just grab the client's arm, and if you can, just gently bring it down. When you've brought that shoulder down, it's freeing up this area above the shoulder, and then that way you can work through it like a little bit more. And then I'm going to do some thumb friction, so they're like my little circles, and I'm just feeling around that scapula. So working across those rhomboids there, leading up into the trapezius area, and then that levator scapular muscle there as well. So I feel like she's got a little bit of tension there. It'll feel like a little bit like gristly, crunchy. I'm just draining back down. Then I'm going to do a movement called thumb drains. That's basically where my thumb is just going to drain around that scapular bone. Just press down on that shoulder. Then the other thumb is going to follow through. Press down ever so slightly. For a little bit more of a deeper movement, if you've got a client with a lot of tension in their shoulders, you can also just use your knuckles and just work through one after the other. So you'll use a little bit of a deeper movement and then a lighter movement just to smooth over. If your client starts tensing up, if the muscles start tensing, that's like the body language telling you, like, actually I don't quite like that movement, maybe it's too much pressure. So you can communicate with your client or read their body language and just lighten off and go back into thumb drains if needs be. I'm just going to clear along that shoulder. So I'm just using this section of my hand and my thumb just to work across that upper shoulder region. And then I'm going to use both through. Now if you've got clients that have like a lot of tension built up, you can do a little bit of hacking. Not directly on the scapular bone, but just next to it. To go over the scapular bone. Smooth over with your effleurage. And those movements will help to stimulate the blood circulation around that area, and it'll bring up some erythema as well. Just stretch that shoulder a little bit. I'm just going to pull down on that shoulder. When I'm pulling on the arm, I'm pulling from the forearm. I'm not pulling at the wrist or anything. Just go back up. Then I'm going to do a figure of 8. And that helps to bring me onto the right side to work on the right scapula. And I can just bring that arm back down, just grab that arm, turn it around, make sure that you're supporting the client's arm. Go in the effleurage. I'm just going to do this scapula a little bit quicker, just because I want to do the rest of the massage. Has anyone got any questions so far? No? All good? If you're struggling with seeing like where the client's shoulder blades are, what you can do is, it's called like winging the arm. So basically what you're doing is you're going to lift the arm and slightly bend it, okay, and you can just place a client's arm here. That'll bring that shoulder blade out. With some clients you can put like a little towel underneath the shoulder just to help support it, but what you might find is naturally sometimes what the arm wants to do is it just wants to slide off onto the side. It's completely, don't try and force it back. The arm's more relaxed falling on the side, so just let it fall. As long as it's supported on the bed, that's fine. But it's just if you're struggling to work around that shoulder blade. So I'm going to pretend I've worked on that scapula, and now I'm leading into the rest of the massage. So my next step is using both hands, starting from the thoracic spine, so it's that upper middle section. I'm using my hands on the sides, so I'm using this part, and basically I call this like a butterfly movement. So I'm going to travel up towards the cervical spine, which is the neck, and then going to circle around the scapulas, so your shoulder blades, and then turning my hands on the side again, travelling up to the cervical spine, down the shoulders, down the arms, and then I'm going to effleurage back up the arms, up to the occipital bone, which is at the back of the head there, that little indentation at the back of your head. So I'm going to repeat that movement 3 times. So step, step, up towards the cervical spine, around the scapulas, travelling up the thoracic spine, up to the cervical spine, down the shoulders, down the arms, just at the elbows, then going to effleurage back up towards the occipital bone, back of the head. Okay, step, step. Circle around those scapulas, back up towards the cervical spine, down the arms, finishing at the elbows, slide back up the arms, up the shoulders, back towards the cervical spine. Okay, so once we've done that, you're then going to do hacking to the whole back and the back of the arms. So once I've went from here, being aware of my posture as well, gently on the back of the arms, being careful of that spine, so I'm working either side, and then I'm hopping over, back of the arms, see I start to lose motion because my hands get tired. And then it should be cupping. Yeah. Be a little bit quieter on the arms, just with them being smaller. We've got our figure of 8 to the whole of the back. I'm worn out now. Once we've done our figure of 8, you're then going to do your shoulder kneading. So that's where you're picking up the shoulders. So it's like that kind of motion. So in sync, so that just means both at the same time. And then concentrated shoulder kneading, starting on the left shoulder. Hand neck kneading. So pretty much the same motion as what you were doing on the shoulders, but you're going to do it on the neck now. So step 27, single hand neck kneading with the right hand. You'll do that 6 times. And then use the left hand. Knuckling to the sides of the neck. So very lightly, just because the neck is quite delicate. So I would say I'm using a light to medium pressure. And then step 29, it's a little bit similar to step 20. You're going to use both your hands starting from the neck. You're going to knuckle down from the cervical spine, down the sides of the vertebral column. Okay, so I'm creating like a butterfly. Then I'm knuckling underneath those scapulars. I'm going to go down the back of the arms. And then I'm going to go across the shoulders and back up to the sides of the neck. And I'm going to repeat that 3 times. And then once I've done that movement, moving on to step 30, which is pressure points starting from the occipital bone, working down the sides of the vertebral column, leading down towards the sacrum. So from that occipital bone, I'm doing pressure points. So I'm just being very gentle because I don't want to feel as if I'm pushing my client's head further into the head cradle. And I'm probably keeping about an inch space in between my 2 thumbs. So it's looking like that, okay, as I'm working down that spine. Holding it for about 2 to 3 seconds, probably more 3. And what I'm doing when I'm working down the vertebral column, I'm not taking my thumbs off, I'm just keeping contact with my client I'm just sliding my thumbs down over the skin. What you'll also find is I tend to tuck my fingers into like my palms. If I have my fingers out like that, it can get like a little bit tickly around the client's waist. That's why I just tuck my fingers in. And I'm also coming down the sides of the bed as well, just so I'm not overstretching my back. So what you want to do is, I know it says sacrum, what you want to do is you want to go to as far as the bottom of the back as you can. What you shouldn't be doing is going past that towel as such, because that's like your boundary with your client. So once you've done your last pressure points, you're then going to knuckle the lower back. So I just slide my thumbs across and go straight into my knuckling. And then once I've done my knuckling, I'm going to come up to the top of the back and I'm going to effleurage to the whole of the back and the back of the arms and finish at the occipital with gentle pressure points. So it's a little bit like a reverse effleurage coming down the sides of the client, just so I'm not overstretching my back. Going to do it 4 just so it's not too much of a long video. And then once I've done that, pressure point press at the occipital, and then you're going to go into light stroking. Across the back. Want to be getting lighter and lighter, and as one hand comes off, the other one can go on. Put my client's hands into the towels. Really press that towel onto the client, stretch the client's back, remove any excess oil. And go into your compressions as well. Cool. I'm just going to lower the bed. That's the end of the back massage. How are you feeling, Rosie?